There is a principle that the most successful people on earth have quietly mastered, and it is this: they stopped explaining themselves. I want you to sit with that for a moment, because most people spend a significant portion of their lives doing something that costs them enormously, and they do not even realize it. They spend their energy trying to convince others of their worth. They write long explanations. They justify their decisions. They defend their dreams. They rehearse conversations in the middle of the night explaining why they made this choice or that one, why they left, why they stayed, why they started, why they stopped. And I need to tell you today, Myles Munroe speaking to you from the deepest place of conviction, that habit is robbing you of the very future you are working so hard to build. The most expensive thing you are doing right now. Let me tell you what I have observed across decades of speaking to people in boardrooms, churches, prisons, schools, and stadiums all over this world. The people who are most stuck in life are the people who are most committed to being understood by everyone around them. They cannot move forward because they are constantly looking backward, making sure everyone agrees with their direction. Now hear me carefully, because I am not telling you to be arrogant. I am not telling you to be closed off to wisdom or counsel. A wise person always seeks wise counsel, but there is a critical difference between seeking wisdom and seeking approval. There is a world of difference between consulting a mentor and trying to convince your critics. When you try to explain yourself to someone who is not genuinely invested in your destiny, you are spending currency you cannot afford to lose. You are spending time, which you cannot recover. You are spending focus, which is your most precious resource. And you are spending emotional energy, which is the very fuel your vision requires. Stop spending what your future needs to impress your present. Why we explain ourselves. I want to address something honestly, because I believe in dealing with the root and not just the fruit. Why do we feel this compulsion to explain ourselves? Why do we feel this almost magnetic pull to make sure everyone around us understands and validates our choices? It comes from one place: insecurity about your own identity. When you do not know who you are at your core, when your identity is not settled within you, you need other people's agreement to feel stable. Their opinion becomes your foundation. Their nod becomes your permission slip. Their silence becomes your doubt. But here is the truth I want to plant deep in your spirit today. You do not need permission to fulfill your purpose. The Wright brothers did not hold a press conference to get approval before they flew. Marie Curie did not apologize for being brilliant in a room full of people who doubted her. Every great person in history who built something meaningful did so while being misunderstood by the very people around them. Purpose does not wait for applause. Purpose moves. The validation trap. I have counseled countless men and women who had extraordinary potential. And I mean extraordinary sawams, but they were paralyzed. Not by lack of talent, not by lack of opportunity. They were paralyzed by what I call the validation trap. The validation trap works like this. You have an idea, a vision, a calling on your life. You share it with someone. They question it, or they dismiss it, or they give you that look that says they don't believe it. And instead of going out and building it, you go back to them and try harder to explain it. Now you are no longer building, you are campaigning. And campaigns end when people vote. But the problem is that the people who have not paid the price of your vision do not get to cast a vote on it. The moment you put your destiny up for a vote, you have given someone else the power to delay or destroy it. Remove your dream from the ballot. It was never up for election. Let me tell you what silence actually communicates. People misunderstand silence. They think silence is weakness. They think that if you do not defend yourself, it means you agree with the criticism. They think that if you do not explain your decision, people will assume the worst. But I want to reframe silence for you completely. Silence is not weakness. Silence is strategy. When a lion is hunting, it does not announce itself. When a seed is growing, it does not hold a press conference. When gold is being refined in the fire, it does not apologize for the heat. The process happens in private, and the result shows up in public. That is the principle of results-based living. Results do not require explanation. Results are their own argument. Results silence critics in a way that no amount of words ever could. You can spend 5 years explaining your vision to someone who doubts you, and they will still doubt you. Or you can spend 5 years building that vision, and when the fruit appears, your success will say everything that your words never could. The most powerful statement you will ever make is the life you build. What Myles Munroe learned from purpose. I have dedicated my life to the study of purpose. And one of the most profound things I have discovered is that purpose is not comfortable. Purpose will take you into rooms where you do not look like everyone else. Purpose will lead you down paths that no one in your family has walked before. Purpose will require decisions that people who love you will question. And here is what happens in those moments. You feel the pressure to stop and explain, to turn around and say, "Let me help you understand why I am going this way." But purpose does not slow down for commentary. Purpose has a pace, and that pace is relentless. When God places something in your heart, when you have been given a vision, a calling, a mandate, that thing is between you and your Creator. It was not deposited in you by committee. It was not designed by popular opinion, and it will not be fulfilled by consensus. You have to learn to walk alone sometimes, not arrogantly, not bitterly, but confidently, peacefully, with the settled knowing that what is in you is real, even when no one around you can see it yet. The people who cannot see your vision are not your enemy. Now, I want to say something that requires a spirit of maturity to receive. The people who do not understand your vision are not your enemy. I want you to hear that. The family member who shakes their head, the friend who asks, "Are you sure about this?" The colleague who quietly doubts. These people are not your adversaries. In most cases, they love you. They are just limited by what they can see. And you cannot be angry at someone for being limited in their vision. You have to have compassion. But compassion does not mean you put your future on hold so that they can catch up in their understanding. Love them, honor them where honor is due. But do not let their limited vision become the ceiling of your unlimited potential. What you have to understand is that every person can only see as far as their experience has taken them. If someone has never seen a person from your background build something extraordinary, they genuinely cannot picture you doing it. That is not malice. That is the limitation of unexpanded imagination. Your job is not to convince their imagination. Your job is to go build the thing and then let them see it with their own eyes. When it exists, they will understand, and many of them will celebrate what they once questioned. Results are louder than arguments. I want to talk to you about the power of results because I believe this is the most underutilized strategy in the lives of gifted people. When you argue with a critic, you enter their world. You are now playing by their rules, on their terrain, fighting with their weapons. And arguments are exhausting. Arguments are never ending. For every point you make, they have a counter. For every explanation you offer, they have another question. You can win every argument and still lose momentum on your vision. But results change the entire dynamic. Results do not argue. Results simply exist. And their existence is an undeniable statement. Think of every person you admire who has achieved something significant. They did not get there by out-arguing their critics. They got there by outworking, outbuilding, out-persisting, out-creating their doubts. And when the results came, the argument was over, not because they won the debate, but because the debate no longer mattered. This is why I tell people the greatest response to doubt is production. Produce, create, build, serve. The fruit of your labor will speak a language that transcends every argument anyone could ever make against you. The internal work that makes this possible. Now, I am wise enough to know that I cannot simply say, "Stop explaining yourself," without addressing what has to happen on the inside for that to be possible. Because if you are honest, the reason you keep explaining yourself is not primarily because you care what other people think. It is because there is a part of you that is not yet fully convinced of your own worth. There is a part of you that is still negotiating with doubt. And until you do the deep work of settling your own identity, until you become anchored in who you are and why you are here, you will always be pulled back into the cycle of seeking validation. So how do you do that work? First, you have to separate your value from your performance. Your worth is not measured by your last result. Your worth was established before you produced a single thing. Value precedes production. You are not valuable because of what you do. You do what you do because of who you are. Second, you have to develop a relationship with your own vision. Spend time alone with it. Study it. Nurture it. Get so familiar with the calling on your life that someone else's opinion of it feels like commentary on the weather. Interesting perhaps, but not determinative. And third, you have to start collecting evidence of your own capability. Every time you follow through on a commitment to yourself, you are building trust with yourself. And as that trust deepens, the need for external validation begins to fade naturally. The most secure people on earth are not the ones who have received the most praise. They are the ones who have built the deepest relationship with their own purpose. A word to those who have been explaining too long. I want to speak directly to someone today. You know who you are. You have been explaining yourself for years, and I mean years. You have been defending your choices to people who were never going to agree with them. You have been shrinking yourself to fit into the comfort zones of people who cannot see what you carry. You have been apologizing for your ambition, hedging your boldness, muting your calling, all in the effort to not make others uncomfortable. And what does it cost you? It has cost you time you cannot recover. It has cost you confidence that should have been yours by now. It has cost you a version of yourself that you were meant to become and have not yet because you have been too busy managing other people's perceptions. Today, I am calling that season to an end. You do not owe the world an explanation for your calling. You owe the world your fullest expression of it. Stop the apologies, stop the justifications, stop asking for permission to be what you were born to be. Go build the thing, go write the book, go start the business, go raise those children with excellence, go serve your community with everything you have, go pursue that vision that has been burning in you since before you can remember, and let the results speak. The legacy of a results-driven life. I want to close with this because I believe in thinking generationally. I believe that the decisions you make today do not just affect you, they affect the people who come after you. When you choose to stop explaining and start building, you do something that extends far beyond your own lifetime. You demonstrate to every person who is watching, including those young people who may be too afraid to even name their dreams out loud, that it is possible. That ordinary people with extraordinary commitment can produce extraordinary results. You become a piece of evidence. And evidence is the most powerful argument the world has ever known. The people who will change this world are not going to be the best explainers. They are going to be the best builders, the most committed creators, the most disciplined executors. The people who, when met with doubt and criticism and misunderstanding, simply put their heads down and pour everything they have into what they were made to do. Be that person, not someday, not when conditions are perfect, not when everyone around you finally understands. Now, today, with what you have, where you are. Final words. Myles Munroe has spent a lifetime studying what separates people who fulfill their potential from those who do not. And the most consistent differentiator I have found is not talent. It is not opportunity. It is not resources. It is the decision to be governed by purpose rather than opinion. Make that decision today. Stop explaining yourself. Stop seeking permission. Stop waiting for the validation that was never coming from those sources anyway. Do the work. Build the vision. Serve with excellence. Stay consistent. Stay faithful to what is in you. And when the results come, and they will come, let them do all the talking that ever needed to be done. Your results are your biography. Write a compelling one.